Hey everyone, welcome back to Mike Foster Outdoors. First off, thanks to all you guys for supporting my channel and stopping by again for another video. Today's video is the recap video from the Grand Lake series. Had a couple practice videos I put up and a little bit of tournament footage. I do apologize about the tournament footage. I had camera issues out there for both days of the tournament. I don't know if it was water splashing up on the camera and the bigger waves. We had 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts on day one, and that's when my camera started having issues. But I had enough to make a little bit of video there from the tournament. But in this video, I want to try to teach you guys some of the things I was working on finding in practice, and then trying to build on that to get a good solid game plan together for the actual tournament days. I had never been to Grand Lake, but man, that place was fun, and it's a great looking lake. So many pockets, and the rock, pea gravel bank, bluff walls, you name it, it's out there. So I started looking for areas that was the last deep water going into areas I figured were spawning areas, typical springtime pattern. There were fish on beds. I chose to try to find the pre-spawn fish, just because typically they weigh a little bit more. In certain times you can find them grouped up a little better on a little deep spot or something leading into a cut. So what I had found after the first day of practice, and especially more dialed in on day two, you could go far back in these pockets in these creeks, and the last little bluffy bends, the last little deep water. Now, deep water could be relative. It might have only been 4 foot on one side of the bay, but the 4 foot was right against the little bluff rock. It's kind of like a gray looking bluff rock out there that I was keying on. But it might be 4 foot, and then on the other side of the bay it might just be 1.5 feet or something, you know, just a tapered down. Great for spawning. So I was feeling real confident. I caught several quality fish over 4 pounds in practice, and I let a ton of fish swim. If I caught one good fish in an area, I just left that whole place, went and looked for more. So as the practice progressed, I was trying to expand and get more areas. Now, after my practice was done, I had 3 or 4 areas that I had a lot of confidence in. And if you guys go back and watch the practice footage, you'll see some of those good bites, and then what kind of type areas I was getting bit in. In practice, I want to share with you my 2 baits that I was having my luck with. Of course, you guys all know I love throwing a stupid tube. This one here is a fresh one. I got rigged up for a tournament in the morning after I get off work, headed straight to the lake. I've got this rigged up on 20-pound line. It's got a 3/16 head in it. And the rod, I always throw my stupid tube. See if you guys can see that. This is an old rod. It's a Dixie Custom Icon series. They haven't made them for a while, but I've had this rod about 8 years. I'd sure like to know how many fish that thing's boated. 7.3 medium heavy, but fast tip. When you throw this stupid tube rig, you want to have a fast tip so you can skip the bait into spots where a lot of people don't put a bait. That ability to do that will get you a few more bites through the day, and a lot of times that can be a difference maker. So that was my main bait. I had a lot of fish that were just picking that tube up and just swimming with it, and I just never set a hook on them. So my second deal, the water was about 60 degrees out there, and the wacky rig is a killer in that water temperature. Watermelon red, I got a 1/16 ounce head on there. I was throwing it on a weighted head because it was kind of windy. This is a 7-foot medium action Dixie rod, and I have 15-pound braid as my main line going to I always just run normally a 10 or 12-pound fluorocarbon leader, and the union knot that I use is just an Alberto knot. It's never failed me, and I'm not going to change it up if if it's been good for this many years. So those were the two baits that I was having great success on in practice. Found a bunch of areas, like I said, I think I had about 4 areas that I had a lot of faith in. And going into day one of the tournament, I thought, man, I could catch 17 to 20 pounds if I can just get a couple of them 4.5, 4 3/4 bites, because I was catching a lot of 3-pounders. Had 13 keepers on day one. Tournament footage doesn't show that because of the dang camera issues, but I really only pressured one of my areas that day, and I think I caught about 10 of those keepers in that one area. I had a limit by an hour and 20 minutes, and I just called up slowly. So I'm like, man, you know, I keep doing this all day, I can get up to that good weight I want if I can just get one good bite. I never did catch a fish over 4 pounds, but I'm not really sure how you throw a stupid tube all day and don't catch one over 4, but I did it. I weighed 15 pounds, 1 ounce on day one. Had me in good position though. I was still like 44th, I believe, and there's like 150 some boats. So I was pretty happy with that. I had a lot of confidence going into day two because I had 2 more areas that were exactly like where I was at, but I hadn't pressured them. So I run to one of those, I go back to the area where I had caught them on day one just for a little while to see if I could pick up a couple fish there, and then I ran to my next spots. Now here's where it went crazy. We had a 38-degree night after the first night of the tournament. The fish totally vacated that last deep water where I was catching them and went up and started getting on beds on that 38-degree night, which I had never experienced that before. So that just threw me off. But at noon, I had no fish in the boat. So I made an adjustment at noon, changed areas, actually went to some new water I hadn't fished, changed baits, and I'll show you the bait I switched up to, guys. I switched up just an old Strike King Rage bug. Now this one here is in blue craw color, but I was throwing a summer craw. And this is on a 7.3 heavy rod, and I got it on 15-pound line. I got a TMO Tackle 3/16 weight and a TMO Tackle 4/0 flipping hook. If you guys want to check out them flipping hooks, they're pretty legit. They have an all welded line tie on there, so there's no way your line can slip out, because some hooks don't have that, and I've known guys to lose fish when that line comes out of there. So I make this adjustment, guys. I get off the bluff wall deal in the backs. I start looking for little bitty smaller pockets that's got pea gravel bottom, and within 10 minutes I catch a 4.5 after that adjustment. And then it was maybe like another half hour, I caught another small keeper, 14 1/8. And you know, I only got like 2.5 hours because we got to weigh in at 3. So I think I had about a half hour or so left, and I caught a 3.5. So I'm like, man, there's still a chance, we just need one good bite. But we just ended with those 3 fish. We had 9 pounds, 2 ounces, I think, and the one was just, like I said, a scrawny little 14-inch line burner. But the moral of it is, I shouldn't have been so stubborn for so long, but I had never seen fish vacate like that and move up on beds in that cold of a night, so I learned something there. And but I am proud of myself for making that adjustment and catching those 3 decent fish. So you always got to take away some positive, guys, and that adjustment was definitely something that I won't forget, and I won't forget those fish moving like that on that cold of a night. I know they did that because my buddy Jackson Riley, when we was at the weigh-in on day 2, he's like, dude, I caught all of them looking at him. And him and I were fishing similar type stuff. We had been bouncing ideas off each other. We traveled together. But shout out to Jackson, because he managed a 4th place finish at the grand event. That was awesome for him. And I just took away what I could as far as learning experiences on this. I hope to get back to Grand Lake. I intend to fish the Toyota Series next year, as long as I'm able to. And we got one more event this year. We ended about, I think we were 75th, about mid-pack, but we actually moved up to 40th in the point standings. We were 60-something, so 2 consistent finishes moved us up. And we have the one more event is at Lake of the Ozarks in September, so if we have a solid finish out there, we might be taking a trip to the Toyota Championship at Wheeler. So thanks everybody for stopping by. I hope some of these tips, or maybe some of those baits I showed you, will help you out. If you get in a situation and need to make that adjustment or something, just don't wait as long. I should have bailed on what I was doing after 2 hours, because I know those few spots had a lot of fish on it, and when I got no bites, I should have just made the adjustment. But thanks for stopping by again, guys. Till next time, tight lines.